Mindfulness and mountain pose are two YMTP techniques that I use most often in my day-to-day. I like to use mountain pose because I feel that it helps both students and staff get a sense of confidence. I like to practice myself when I'm feeling a bit nervous about doing a social and emotional learning workshop or a group presentation. It just helps me get in the groove and get some of that confidence.
Thank you, YMTPP, for such a wonderful experience. One of the very many strategies that I love to implement every day is the love and kindness meditation. I love to think of someone that I love and think, may you be safe. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be at peace. And then I transfer that love to myself and I say, may I be safe. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I be at peace.
Mindfulness technique that I most use every day is the mindfulness breathing. The mindfulness breathing is accessible to me, especially to diffuse any problems, and it's accessible to my students as well, obviously. So anywhere we go, we can practice our mindfulness breathing, be it in the halls, in the stairwells, in the cafeteria. I don't need any additional tools to practice this technique. So it calms the students down. It makes them aware of their breathing, of, the pattern.
We've learned that our brains and our minds are separate. And we've learned but we've learned that our thoughts are not in control of us. That we can be in control of our thoughts. And if we can be in control of our thoughts, and we can teach children how to be in control of their thoughts, they will choose to behave in a way that affirms their humanity and the humanity of each individual that they come in contact with on a daily basis.
My name is Dr. Beverly Logan. I'm the co-director of YMTPP. And now we pass the torch that you too will bring the yoga, the mindfulness to your classrooms, to your school space, to your school communities. In the spirit of Dr. Martin Luther King weekend, he always says, be the peace you wish to see in the world. We've given you the tools. We've given you the opportunity to learn. We ask that you don't keep it to yourself, but that you are charged to make sure that you spread all that you've learned today, that if it's just one person that you touch, you've touched many. And now I would like to introduce the ES of Brooklyn South and Staten Island, Ms. Barbara Freeman, to bring us some words of encouragement, who is also a YMTPP graduate.
Yes, sir.
Steven, turn your camera on.
I was waiting for the cue. There's always a stage manager. So it's my privilege right now to close us out. And those of you that work with me regularly will be very pleased to learn that I have my version of a lesson plan in front of me. I think at the end of the day, the bottom line for trying to use my pronouns correctly here, but or singular and plural correctly. The most important part to me is that people that go to school every day are nice to each other. The government makes the children go to school. They don't have a choice. The teachers, the assistant principals, the principals, all of us, cafeteria workers, the custodial staff, the security staff, the front office staff, we're all volunteers. We sell our time to New York City in order to fulfill the obligation of teaching children currently pre-K through 12th grade, sometimes on to 21. And too often, we're not very nice about it to each other, to the children, how we speak to them, how we react to them, how they react to us. Their behavior is a reflection on our behavior. And the notion of mindful behaviorism is that we understand that our schools are structured around a failed theory of behaviorism, which is a human control theory borrowed from slavery and dogs. And those are not our children. Our children are living, breathing human beings that deserve our respect and the acknowledgement that as adults, we require them to be there. What you have all just done in the last several months together is proven a theory in action, right? You've proven that all you have to look at are the testimonials that we just saw in the videos. You have proven that if you teach children within the regular space of your pedagogy and curriculum to breathe, move, and meditate, everyone will have better results. And the things that you want to go up will go up, and the things that you want to go down will go down. the difference between us and Pavlov's dog, and the difference between us and Skinner's theory on controlling human behavior is that in between stimulus and response is human agency. And just because we have the ability, Skinner, to control children's behavior, it does not mean that we ought to. We ought to teach them how to choose to behave in a way that is beneficial for them and those around them. I had the privilege of studying with Deweyan scholars, and so the notion of needs and interests have been very important to me in my career. That the obligation of the schoolhouse in Dewey's language, is to understand what the children need and to provide them with curriculum that interests them. As adults, we can decide on needs. As adults, we cannot decide on interests. And we often get that confused in schools. What brought me to this work and the commitment to this work, well, there were two spaces. The first space, I'll give a shout out to Barnaby Spring. About 6-7 years ago, he came to a directors of student services meeting and he talked about mindfulness, and I think he had a PowerPoint presentation, and I think he was given 5 minutes to speak to the directors of student services. And I had never heard of mindfulness. I didn't know what it was. I knew yoga, I had a yoga practice. I knew about meditation, a little teensy bit, but I didn't know about Western non-sectarian notions of mindfulness until Barnaby brought it into the room. And I remember going home that night and at the time having kids that were probably in middle school and high school. And they both said, oh yeah, we heard that. We had that in our school. That's about the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. Both of them in unison. Well, then I kind of figured out we were probably onto something, right? I heard somebody mention it at work. I heard my kids mention it from their school. And so I figured maybe we're onto something here. And then Barnaby and a bunch of other folks arranged for us to take some trips up to Kripalu for their RISE curriculum, which I had the good fortune of Sam being my facilitator, my teacher, my first teacher at Kripalu. And his first slide in the RISE curriculum is that for all learning to take place, the learner must be comfortable and attentive. Well, that was John Dewey. That was needs and interests. So I got 100-year-old American pragmatism. I got mindfulness, which I learned as 30, 40 years old, Western non-sectarian notions of it. And we just kept going. We kept going and going and going until one day, Janine De Silva from Brooklyn South, Upper Kripalu said, let's become yoga teachers. We're like, what? She said, yeah, I got this program. We do this, we pay this, we go here, we go there, we become yoga teachers. We sat around the chairs, we were talking it through a little bit, and we said, well, we're already teachers. So what if we just make a yoga school? Turns out, lo and behold, you can make a yoga school. And you can teach teachers how to be yoga and mindfulness teachers, which is quite extraordinary. We've had the great fortune of meeting some of the most talented yoga and mindfulness teachers that I can even imagine being possible. Sam and Monique, ridiculous. What they bring to us Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays after the insanity of our days, right? And getting home and getting in place and getting on camera, right? And Sam does not believe in 401, trust me. 4 o'clock means 4 o'clock. And I learned something every time from both of them, no matter how I participate. I no longer have the same relationship to cold weather that I did before Monique reminded me that I could either hate it or embrace it as just another feeling, right? Every time I walk Colonel Foreman in the cold, I'm reminded of Monique and her lesson that I can experience cold the way I choose to experience cold, and not in a different way. So to the thank you to both of you is just simply extraordinary. For myself, I get to work with the smartest, most dedicated, most amazing people that I've ever worked with in my career, and I've worked all over the place. They are brilliant. They are tireless. They are dedicated to this mission beyond anything that I have ever experienced. And they yell at me a lot, which is about the argument, which is about the dialectic, which is about it doesn't make any difference who's right, it only matters what's right. And in the dialectic, when you get the new synthesis, you get new knowledge. And I can't name all of you right now, but if you know, you know. And it's the most amazing part of my professional life. We have leaders that support us. You saw 2 of the 3 executive superintendents today. 2 of them are graduates of the program. The mayor of the city of New York paid for the pilot. We're in touch. Folks know the new chief of wellness was on the Zoom for the first half hour. Folks are noticing. And they're noticing not because of us, but they're noticing because of you, the graduates. And we need you. It is imperative that you continue this work tomorrow. It's imperative that you tell your principals what you learned. It's imperative that you talk about your experience and how it improves your day-to-day work with our children. You're the most important people we have, the teachers in our schools. I think the mayor said it last week. You don't need any of us for school. You don't need me, Beverly. You don't need the execs. You don't need the chance. You don't need any of us. We're all here to help you. The only thing you need for school is you and children. 1 teacher and 15 children make a school, period. And if you need something, call us. Our job is to help. It's the only thing that we do. Finally, I want to thank Beverly. Beverly is extraordinarily committed to this program, and she keeps me in check, which is required from time to time, right? Dr. Beverly Logan is a brilliant educator, and she comes to this work with me and our teams, along with our colleague, Shelley in Brooklyn South, and Bev's director, Stu, in Brooklyn South, on a regular basis to help us make the best decisions that we can make to make this program a permanent part of the New York City Department of Education. God willing, I'll retire when the mayor leaves office in 8 years, and YMTP² will be a permanent part of our bureaucracy. And one of you on this call right now will be the director. And as I've always said at all of the commencements that I've been fortunate to attend, today is the beginning. Not only is today the beginning, but one of you, or two of you, or 8 of you, one day will surpass anything that Beverly and myself and our teams can facilitate. First of all, you're younger, so you're going to be here longer, most of you. And you will take this program and this way of being in school in directions that we could not even begin to imagine. So from the bottom of my heart and the top of my brain, I thank you. I thank you on behalf of all of us and all of the children. And I wish you well and peace. And for one last time together, please take the deepest possible breath you can take in through your nose. Gather up our experience that we have accomplished together and let it out with a sigh. Be warm and be well. And thank you. Good night, everyone.
I'll smile, I know what it takes to fool this town. Yeah. I'll do it till the sun goes down and all through the night time. Oh yeah, oh yeah, I'll tell you what you wanna hear. Keep my sunglasses on while I shed a tear. It's never the right time. Yeah, yeah.